Hello, everyone. Welcome to Royal Black and Elite. I'm Lady TrenettWilson, your lecturer and social historian. I wanted to stop by briefly and talk about Condoleezza Rice. Why? Because she was seen in the White House with President Donald Trump. Now, there's a lot of speculation going on, like, why is Condoleezza there? But I want to say that I think this is a wonderful opportunity to lecture on her, bring her to light for some, who she is, and the reason she would be consulting with presidents is because, frankly put, Condoleezza is a boss. Condoleezza has been a Secretary of State. She's been the National Security Advisor, and he's not the first president that she has advised. She's well respected, and she is a preeminent voice in international diplomacy, in international relations, and especially around the Soviet Union and also Iran. A black woman, normally not spoken of around these subjects, but Condoleezza, she kind of, is in the background, choosing who's going to be at the national playoffs for the college football and advising world leaders. So I thought it'd be great to talk about her. Now, Condoleezza was born in Birmingham, Alabama on November the 14th, 1954. Shout out to Birmingham. Put a like down below if you're from Birmingham. But she grew up in Denver. So you all put a like down below if you are from Denver. She grew up also as an only child, and her mother and father were both academics. Her father actually was the dean of students at an HBCU called Stillman. Now, when she was 13 is when she moved to Denver in 1967. And in 1971, Condoleezza graduated from Catholic high school called St. Mary's Academy. While, she loved music and she thought she did music pretty good. Once she got out of high school, she realized that there were much talented musicians than her. And so she was inspired one day when she took a course at the University of Denver with a man named Joseph Corbell. And he was teaching on the Soviet Union. And in that moment, it was sparked in her. That's what she wanted to do. She wanted to study political science and international relations. And that's what she did. She graduated in 1974, Phi Beta Kappa. And in 1975, she received her PhD from Notre Dame. So when I say this woman has a resume, and let that be an inspiration. Sometimes you're sitting in a class and you don't really like what you're doing. She switched it up. She did what she liked to do. And even when she quit politics, she is part of the whole college football system. And she's a part of that committee that chooses the playoffs. So she is kept busy. And I think that's a beautiful thing. She did that from 2013 to 2016. And so there's been some talk about her being owners of teams. So Condoleezza is making big moves, and we had to give her a shout out here on Royal Black and Elite. Now, you all hype this video so other people can learn about this woman and come into the conversation today around geopolitical science, because she has always been involved with what's going on in the world. Now, she was actually the National Security Advisor under President Bush in the first time, and the second time she was the Secretary of State. So she would often have diplomatic meetings with people in other countries. She was very important to that. And in 1981, at only 26, she was doing this. That's when she received her PhD. Now, from 80 to 81, she worked at she went to Stanford University's Arm Control and Disarmament program as a fellow, and she was one of only 4 women. But oddly enough, she was a Democrat all the way up to this time. But oddly enough, after that, in 1982, she switched affiliation from Democrat because she was working in Carter's administration to Republican. Now, from 1981 to 1987, she did work there at Stanford, and from 87 to 93, she actually became an assistant professor. The door to international politics opened in 1985 when a security advisor for Gerald Ford saw her speak. In 1989, Brent Scowcroft began working with George H.W. Bush, and he tapped Condoleezza as a U.S. expert for the U.S. National Security Council. So that's how she really got her start. There she was in Denver. Someone saw her. Her intelligence moved her to the top of the line, and when an opportunity came, they remembered her and put her in place. Now, she returned to Stanford from 82 to 89, but in 1992, as a board member, she negotiated a deal between Kazakhstan and Chevron. She was a board member of Chevron for $10 billion. So they named a 129-ton super tanker after her. So that is just very interesting. Like, can you imagine going to lunch with her and the story she tells? Now, in 93, Rice also became the first African American and the youngest provost at Stanford University. So, can you imagine starting as assistant professor and ending up as the provost of the college? That's just an honor. Now, on December the 16th, 2011, Rice was named as National Security Advisor. And so that's when she stepped down from Stanford. Now, they called her the Warrior Princess because she was a perfect mix between being tough and being soft. But shortly after she took her role, we know about 9/11. But the thing about it, they said that she had only been there 1 year, so she hadn't been there really long enough to make a whole lot of decisions. But she was heavily criticized. She was brought up in Congress about the waterboarding, so it was a lot of stuff going on with Condoleezza. But she came through it all. And from 2005 to 2009, she served as the Secretary of State. In fact, when they took out Gaddafi, when they went into his lair, if you will, there were pictures of Condoleezza Rice. They said he allegedly was deeply in love with her. So, and many Middle Eastern people really respected her. Again, a very intelligent woman. And even in 2010, she actually championed President Obama's move with Osama bin Laden. So why is she going to see President Trump? Because he better call her in and get some advice and some help, because this terrain she knows. Now, this was in March 2026 that we see that she met with him. So we'll see where that goes. Now, Condoleezza is not married. She has no children. In fact, they say she is from 2003 to 2017 shared a house with a lady named Randy Bean, and is still with this person. So I don't know. But that's what they say, allegedly. So Condoleezza is a boss all the way around. What do you think about her? What have you heard about Condoleezza? Again, put your likes, for Birmingham, for Denver. If you're in any of these areas, tell me a little bit about what you know about her. And do you think she could have been vice president? I mean, Democrats liked her, Republicans like her, and she's very, very well respected. We'll see what she tells our President Donald Trump to do, because there's a lot of fires going on across this world. We need prayer, you all. We pray for all those whose lives have lost in these countries, and wherever he needs to get some help from, he needs to get it. And we're just proud here on Royal Black and Elite that we're able to share a little bit about her background and her story and help you understand maybe why she's at the White House. So I thank you for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Now, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to continue to learn more, click down below. I've left some great lessons for you. In fact, YouTube says you may like this video coming up. Yeah, right here. So you all have a wonderful night, and I'll see you on another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Thanks for watching.